When you look at you take guys like Jay, these guys were launched off of Def Jam. That's the label I'm
gonna give you your props. I'm gonna give you your flowers. Your mother may not give it to you. What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. I need y'all to tell me if LL Cool J is the most arrogant rapper on the face of the planet. I'm gonna hold my commentary to the end. Let's jump into this video. All right, let's go.
humbly, but I really mean this. I think one day people are gonna wake up and realize that LL Cool J is the most important rapper that ever existed. I truly believe one day people are gonna say that. They're gonna say, yo, they're gonna look and they're gonna say, wow, when it comes to the jewelry, this is the guy who introduced all the diamond and the ice and the champagne. They're gonna say when it comes to the love songs, this is the guy who introduces the love songs and all the love shit. When it comes to the bad boy vibe, they're gonna realize, oh, this is the guy who introduced all the rebellious bad boy vibes before it was done. When it comes to the GOAT terminology, they're gonna say, yo, this is the guy who came up with the GOAT stuff. They're gonna say when it comes to Def Jam, wow, this is the first artist that was on Def Jam. They're gonna say, well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. When it comes to the solo artists, gonna say, wow, this is the first solo artist to take it all the way around the world. Like, I mean, I could go on and on and on. They're gonna say, yo, when it comes to the FUBU, yo, this guy introduced the whole idea of putting clothing lines. Even before that, he did Troop. When they say, oh, when it comes to endorsements, oh, this is the guy who did the Kango and made the Kango popular before people even did that. When they talk about television, they gonna say, oh, this is the guy who did the credible stuff on TV and at the same time was still making
all right? You gotta come back next week, maybe we can work something out, all right? Box!
Credible records. It wasn't just doing TV and using rap as a launch pad. When it comes to business, they're gonna say, what? Like, I could go on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like that's why in a lot of ways, it's hard for me to get into the movie thing. Honestly, sincerely, and I mean this sincerely. And it's like, that's why it's not really that interesting for me, because I'm doing so much and I've done so much for the culture that it's almost like it's unfathomable. I mean, Run DMC wasn't even on Def Jam, bro.
That's true. Respect.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Biggie made Going Back to Cali because, you know, I made the song first. Yeah. You know? Like these guys, like every artist that you can name, the biggest artists, the billionaire artists were launched on the label that I launched.
Yeah, and even
no, but seriously, like I mean, these names, like the biggest names in hip hop that come from the '90s. And I'm saying this with love. I'm not trying to be funny style. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I really sincerely. I'm just saying, when you look at you take guys like Jay. These guys were launched off of Def Jam. That's the label I birthed. You talk about these guys like Kanye and all the things he's done. They were launched on a label that I birthed. Like, you can't, like, so it's like when I look at it really when I look at the epicenter of what it really is, come on, bro.
Yo, LL said, come on, bro. So I heard this interview a couple of days ago, and I had time to ponder. And first of all, when I first heard the interview, I thought he was on point. I thought 1000%, I thought LL was freaking on point. I think, you know, the Drink Champs has this thing where they want to give people their flowers, you know, from all of the different over the years, some of the success they had. And I had a moment, y'all, when I started thinking about the core of what Ella was saying, and I'm like, well, what about us, or what about you giving you your flowers? There are certain things in people's lives that a lot of people are doing better because I was born. Because I had an input or an impact in their life. 1000%, I think Ella was on point. I think before, you know, I get Melly Mel and them, they were hardcore, but it was a different era. LL did definitely launch, Run DMC launched a new era of hip hop. LL just took it over the top, because prior to Run DMC, Melly Mel and all of them guys were wearing punk rock stuff with feathers and leather and all this other kind of stuff. Run DMC made hip hop fashion what it was. So I'm gonna give Run DMC that credit. But make no mistake about it. I think any hip hop artist may debate LL, may give him his props because he is the GOAT. He has lasted decades. He's transcended music into movies. He's done so many different things. But I think that, one of the things I think that struck me the most is that what's dying in this generation is the respect and honor for elders. And I'm not calling LL old. I'm just saying in general. How many times do we go into the food store and there's an older woman walking through the door and these young men and women just cut them off or cut them in line. So I think the up and coming generation, when they hear this, I'm like, dude, I started it. I've even heard Soulja Boy say that he is, quote unquote, the one who launched internet rap. None of those things would have existed without Run DMC and LL Cool J. But then I started beginning to think about my life, and I want you to take a moment and think about your life. How many people have you fed? How many people have eaten? How many people have lived? How many people have had some sort of beneficial success because you were alive? And this is not to brag. Like LL said, this ain't about being arrogant. I don't think he's being arrogant. I think 1000% he's speaking from a place of confidence. He's speaking from a place of, look, at the end of the day, let me give y'all an example. A couple of years ago, one of my daughters came to me and she was asking me about business. Some business advice. She said, Dad, I love what you did with your business back in the day. How can I take my business to the next level? I love that question. That's what I feed off of. Passing information, knowledge, and people able to learn from the mistakes that I made. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have any guidance. So any business mistakes that I made because it was just trial and error at the time. So I said, look, first thing you got to do X. I said, first of all, you got to do this. Then you got to do that. Then you got to brand yourself. So I not really put a business plan together, but I put it together so that she could see it mentally in her mind. I said, and she does food, right? So she wanted to take a catering business to another level. And I said, one of the challenges with food is that people like to make these dinners on Friday night, y'all. Dinners only gonna get you but so far. You gotta now go corporate. No matter what business I had back in the day, my goal, my agenda was always to get corporate, because them corporate dollars, my brothers and sisters, stretch a hell of a lot longer than Friday night dinners. I said it to say this. Had I not made the mistakes I made in business, or had, quote unquote, the success that I'ma call it for myself in business, I would have not been able to pass that information and knowledge down. So I get what Ella is saying. At the end of the day, I believe that my worth as a human being, as a father, as a brother, I may not see the gratitude in my lifetime. My wife appreciates me. She shows me all the time. I'm saying, I get what LL is saying. At some point in time, it's unfortunate, and I pray to God that this doesn't happen, but it's a real conversation. At some point in time, somebody will be like, yo, that man taught me a great lesson. My dad taught me how to survive in this. My father taught me how to navigate this thing. That's so this video was a wake-up call to me, because a lot of times we as human beings water ourselves down because we're always trying to fit in, or we're not trying to be abrasive or come off like a know-it-all. And at times, my brothers and sisters, I can come off like a know-it-all. I have to own that one. At times I can. I don't intentionally mean to, but it doesn't mean that's not what I do at times. I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. I'm trying to save people or try to help people cut corners in terms of their life and their life objectives by learning from the mistakes I made. Or the other side of it, sometimes I'm trying to show people or I'm trying to verbally communicate a level of success so that they can get a picture mentally that if I did it being nobody, they could do it. You understand what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times we water ourselves down. And so this particular episode on the podcast is not me watering myself down. I'm going to say, beyond my wife today, because we live and we share everything. So we have with each other, we have a level of appreciation. But make no mistake about it. I did not go to college. I did not earn a college freaking degree. I was self-taught. I taught myself business. I taught myself economics. I taught myself about business branding. I taught myself about business credit. I taught myself about content creation, editing, PowerPoint, Adobe Photoshop, anything I felt like I had to learn. Video editing, and I'm just naming a freaking Jew. And I'm surely talking about works. I'm just talking about lifestyle and business. I ain't talking about family and trying to be she foo. I'm saying I taught myself all, and I'm not saying this to brag. What I'm saying is I gotta give myself the credit, and you gotta give yourself the credit, because even if you put yourself through school, or if you're a mother that was not able to necessarily push your life to a certain place because you took on the responsibility that you were supposed to, having a child young, but you made sure that child got through. I applaud you. You should be looking at yourself great. If you're a father busting your butt to take care of your family, I applaud you. There's no shade in that. We need to look at ourselves every once in a while in the mirror and be like, dude, you freaking did that. I wrote a book before self-publishing was even popular. I Googled it, how to write my own book. As a matter of fact, I'm going back maybe to 2010. I'm talking about over a decade ago. A decade? Yeah, almost 12 years now. I remember there was an individual who I knew who worked at Simon and Schuster, and I called him and I said, dude, I want to write a book. My man said, okay, what's the concept? I told him my concept. He said, good concept. He said, Rock, can I tell you something? I said, yes. He said, if you sign with us, we're going to take almost 65%. He said, if you self-publish, based upon the audience that you already have, you're going to be able to keep 95% of all your money. That's all he had to tell me, y'all. That's all he had to tell me. My first book, I think I sold about a couple thousand copies. And it was right before Hurricane Sandy out here in Jersey. And so my business flatlined for a couple of months. And I lived off of the money I sold in books until it was all gone. But I give myself that credit because at least I was able to do it. At least, listen, I thank God for his creativity. I thank God for his ability. I thank God for what he placed in me. I thank God, because I would not be able to do it without the grace of God. I'm not saying that I'm here and some type of superhuman being. All I'm saying is, LL, I got what you were saying. At some point in time, the hip hop world needed to say, you know what? Let me give Uncle L his flowers. LL, you laid that foundation. See, because we live in such a fast-paced, social media-driven world that the moment something is trending and popular, it's going tomorrow. But that's not the way my generation grew up, which is why Drink Champs has a format they have, because they want to go back and give honor to all these old-school hip-hop artists that laid the foundation. But I'm going to say this to y'all as I wrap this up. I want you to give credit to yourself, because there's times when it wasn't easy getting out of the bed, going to work, making sure them kids had food on the table. Brothers, it wasn't easy doing what you had to do. It wasn't easy putting yourself through school. It wasn't easy driving a beat up car. It wasn't easy taking a bus to the train, then walking. We didn't have Uber back in the day. So I want you to give yourself your credit that you freaking deserve. You deserve your flowers and you deserve your props. That's right. Without you, there are lives that would not be where they are today. I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it loud, proud, and bold. Even my kids who don't talk to me, even my kids who don't deal with me, even the ones who are freaking defiant for whatever their personal reason is, I'm okay with that. It is because I gave them what I gave them why their life is where it is today. I'm going to look myself in the mirror and I'm going to pat myself on the back. I wasn't a perfect father. I ain't talking about being perfect. I'm talking about I did my freaking, and I laid a foundation so that other people with lives would be better because I was born. And it may not be realized fully until I'm gone. Outside of my queen. Outside of my queen, yo. Anyway. Thank y'all for checking out this podcast. I'm all over the place, y'all. I had to hit this one hard. Too many times we're walking around in freaking depression, holding our freaking heads down because life out here can be rough. It's expensive, but you still doing it. But you still pushing it. You still living. You still growing. I'm going to give you your props. I'm going to give you your flowers. Your mother may not give it to you. Your father may not give it to you. Your family may not give it to you. But I'm going to applaud you for the effort and the energy that you put into your family, your friends, your business. You caused somebody else's life to be better. And for that, my brothers and sisters,